Crusader Kings 3's new flavor pack, Northern Lords, has just launched, and with it, all the many Norse Asatru lords across the map have gotten a ton of new major decisions to help in their conquests across the globe. In this video today, I want to talk about my top 5 picks for lords you should play as in your next playthrough of the Northern Lords DLC. Some of these are a little obvious, but some of the latter gentlemen on this list will definitely test your might as a leader of the Norse people. Rather than having the cliffhanger of who each lord is, you can quickly jump to the ones you want to hear about or use them as a reference point by navigating to the chapters in the timeline or in the description. And as always, if you've yet to pick up the DLC, you can find a link in my description to my storefront on Nexus. The platform gets Steam keys directly from the developer and provides them to you, and it's a great way to support the channel. So thank you very much if you decide to use my link, and you can also find a link to my Patreon in the description below if you so wish. But let's get started on the top 5 campaign starts in Northern Lords for Crusader Kings 3. The first entry on this list is actually a 4-sum or something of the sort. Well, it's going to be all of the sons of Ragnar. So whenever you start a game in 867 and it says Wrath of the Northmen, you can pretty much choose all of the 4 sons as a starting location. And really, honestly, for the DLC, the Northern Lords, it makes the most sense why these would be the 4 I'm going to highlight up front. Now, I know a lot of people have really already played through these ones, so it is just kind of a simple nod that I wanted to throw in this video, but it is worth taking a look here at the new major decisions. Every single one of the sons has secure the High Kingdom of the North Sea. In fact, almost every single character starting up here has this, for the exception of formation of the capital of Rus with the Rurikids. So, with the High Kingdom of the North Sea, you have a very fun, very challenging, long-form major decision. But Elevate the Kingdom of Man and the Isles is one that both Jarl Halfdan have, as well as Ivar the Boneless. And these two, I think, make for possibly the most fun of the 4 brothers, because Elevating the Kingdom of Man and the Isles is another really cool and new decision added in with the game. My personal pick, though, of the 4 is Ivar the Boneless, because I feel he has a little bit more interesting of a starting position when it comes to things. You've got Scotland, or well, what becomes Scotland here in the north. You have all of this location over here in Ireland to take advantage of, and you have Iceland to the far north. If you want a particularly more challenging one, then Sigurd here is a little bit more challenging, as you have a lot of opposition around you that has a good amount of soldiers to fight against you with. So it's not going to be so easy to expand and create the Kingdom of Denmark if you go into Jylland. So it is a little bit harder than the other 3. So if you were looking for a Son of Ragnar that has a bit of an edge and challenge, you'll find it right here with Sigurd. I'm going to actually switch over him real quick and we'll look at his major decisions. So he, again, just has secure the High Kingdom of the North Sea. Now, I do believe if you actually take the Isle of Man and kind of occupy this area, you'll get that major decision, but I think it's kind of cool to be able to start out the gate working towards that. And as far as the actual characters themselves go, each and every one of them is particularly good in one thing or another. Sigurd, though, is a little bit more of a jack of all trades, and he's not as good as his other brothers. When you take a look over here at Bjorn's got amazing diplomacy and really strong martial. He has a really amazing wife too that has good has the intelligent perk as well as mystic. And then even if you take a look at Ivar, he has amazing intrigue and really good martial skill. His wife has pretty, and I believe this can also be randomized, some of these traits, so be mindful of that. But even looking over here at Halfdan, he has really high martial as well, and his wife at least has mastermind philosopher. It is worth noting too, with these 2 gentlemen in Suthroyar and Jorvik, both of them have substantial armies that are special troops that they get when they start their campaign. But this covers all of our Sons of Ragnar. Let's move over to another pretty obvious option, but a really fun one nonetheless. Moving over to the next option on our list, we have the Lands of the Rus, and that gives us 2 Norse Asatru lords to choose from. We have, of course, Rurikid, but the kind of more obscure one here is Jarl Dir, or Dire, the Stranger. Now, this is one of the only characters in the game that gives you the Genius perk out the gate, and I've talked about him before as one of the great top options to choose when you're starting any campaign, regardless of the Northern Lords DLC pack. So he's a very strong one and a very fun one because you have a lot of fun conflicts all around you. But you have the decision, found the capital of the Rus. And this is only done with this character and with Rurikid, because one of the big things that's required here is to actually hold what becomes the lands of Kiev, which is the chieftain that you start off with. We're going to switch over to Rurik in just a little bit. So if you want a more challenging choice to found the capital of the Rus and you want to play through a campaign creating Kievan Rus like we did on our stream together, then this would be the character for you. It's, again, very challenging, but also very fun and rewarding. We'll move over here to the obvious one, though, in Rurikid, and he is a great choice if you're trying to found the capital of the Rus, and as well as doing a lot of other things that come with this DLC pack, like forging the Jomsvikingur. That's very easy to achieve here with Rurikid. Also, getting Shield Maidens out of Jomsvikingur is very easy as well, because he has High Marshal, and he's prone to creating children that have a martial pursuit if you decide to go down that route and tutor them yourselves. So if you want to make a bunch of Shield Maidens and you have a bunch of daughters, have them be tutored by you, Rurikid, or Rurikid, and you can actually make them become Shield Maidens if they have a martial lifestyle perk. They need this education trait to become Shield Maidens. So that only happens when they're in that initial portion from 1 to 16 years of age. But I think this one is the one that I did the majority of my testing on, and Rurikid just gets out of control quick, especially with all the new innovations that have come with the Northern Lords DLC pack. Switching gears here, we'll be now talking about single characters, and I think one of the best ones on the map to talk about is Montigau with Count Hæsteinn. Now, Hæsteinn is a particularly strong character because he already starts out with 3,000 special soldiers, 2,600 prestige, 30 martial. He's got 18 actual prowess, and he has got a son, Ragnar, that it has quick. So he's really well kitted out of the gate, and he has the adventurer trait to start. So I think of all of the characters, he is the one that is best equipped for the new Casus Belli of Varangian Adventure. In fact, in my own personal campaign, the AI Hæsteinn took over a chunk of East Francia. And if you want to go about using Hæsteinn and starting these grand Varangian adventures, which I strongly recommend. This character is all about early expansion, and prior to the Northern Lords DLC, Brittany was the most likely target. But I think a really good juicy one is down over here in Italy. Italy has 2,100 troops by comparison, and if you choose the Duchy of Lombardy as your actual target, you get a very large duchy at your disposal, and on top of it, it has really high development for when you want to eventually transition into feudal. I think that this character, because he is so strong, and there's also an Iron Man achievement attached to him, it makes for a lot of fun if you want to expand north up here into England or any portion of the United Kingdom as a whole. You have got those options, or down south here. He is really the sky is the limit type character, and that's why I think he's particularly strong, because he's already just a very strong character. And I think no matter what, with any Varangian adventure, you're gonna have a lot of fun with Hæsteinn. Next up on our list is Iceland. Now, this one is particularly challenging. In fact, the next two are going to be quite hard. Now, Iceland is different than a lot of the other ones because, of course, you are on a secluded island. And you start off as Norse Asatru, splitting the island in half between Ostfriesland, your territory, and Westerland, the individual that is Catholic Norse. So you are already kind of up against your biggest opposition here on the island, and they have a comparable military to you. Theirs is for 524, yours is 565. In addition to that, you're 41 years old, so you have to pretty much scramble to find a really good wife to then make for a stronger heir, as your current heir is not too remarkable. You can try to do some subterfuge or even marrying into this house to try to combine those two pieces of land. But the biggest problem you're going to face with Iceland is expanding off of the island itself. If we scroll out here, we can see that the next logical choice is probably the Northern Isles. And since each one of these is an individual county, it's going to be difficult if their army is in a substantial way or has a lot of really good allies. As you can see here at 300, it's not that big, but these guys might ally together. They might get a really scary ally to go with them. So you have to be very quick in your expansion, but also measured in it, because moving to each one of these islands or even onto mainland portions of the United Kingdom or over here into Norway, you're going to have the disembarkation penalty. So expansion out from Iceland is going to be quite difficult as you move towards the major decision of securing the High Kingdom of the North Sea. Again, the new major decision added with the new DLC Northern Lords. But I think this one is going to really test you as a Northern Lord to see how you go about expanding your territory to eat up as much land as possible to get a sizable enough military that you can challenge other nations. Okay, number one on this list, and probably the hardest character that I've covered in a good amount of time, is not Lothrongia. That was a ploy. It was a trick. I've done this to you on purpose. It's the count here of the northern portions of Frisia. And this one is really hard. So let's take a look at this. Let's expand it out, because you are a count within Holland. And within Holland, you are part of Lothrongia. So you are not an independent character. And on top of that, you are Norse Asatru, when almost everyone around you is some form of Catholicism and a different culture. So usually, if you take a look at, say, the Byzantine Empire, you would just move up through the vassals, kind of gobbling up as much land as you can and just making yourself a bigger and bigger vassal. That's not as easy this time around because everyone hates you. So your expansion upwards is going to be pretty volatile. This is another character that you really are probably better off doing a Varangian adventure, but at the same time, there's a very unique challenge attached to this, to trying to create any of these duchies of, say, Frisia and break away from Holland, and trying to eat up as much land as you can. Another big issue with this is, while your direct liege, the Duke of Holland, has this location over here, he has both of these as well. So you'll be going to war directly with him, and you have near no military strength to create that Duchy of Frisia right away. So it's really going to be about creating a lot of really strong alliances, using your intrigue or your education to your best of your ability. And again, a lot of these are going to randomize for your playthrough. And on top of it, using your council to your best ability. This one's really, really going to test you because it eschews the normal way of being a vassal, because now you're a vassal twice removed, right? You've got a duke above you and then a king above that. So it's going to be quite the challenge to play as this character right here. And I think it's going to be a really, really good one to really steep your hands in a lot of the new mechanics of the Northern Lords, because with this, you do get the ability to secure the High Kingdom of the North Sea. And you could even say, hey, I'm going to do a Varangian adventure, and we're going to go to Nuestria. And if you go to Nuestria, that will give you the prompt or the major decision to create the Norman culture. So a really cool way to kind of blend in that Varangian adventure, as well as taking advantage of an already existing major decision in creating the Norman culture. At that, it brings our video here to a close, and I hope with these 5 starting locations, you are now able to jump into the Northern Lords DLC with a really good idea for what you want to play as. There are still tons of different options that you can play across the map to really have a lot of fun, especially if you want to play as Yeland over here, Upland over here. You have a lot of options. Now, do keep in mind, with this DLC, it is mainly focused on 867. Some of the stuff that you can do in 1066 is a little bit more watered down, and that's why I didn't include any of the 1066 starting options in this video. But if you have a really good suggestion for a 1066 Lord that does benefit from the Northern Lords pack, please, by all means, let it be known in the comment section below. Share some of your favorite characters that are Norse Asatru in that comment section so other people can get a good idea of some other things to play as. And let people know, hey, if you're going to play as this character, here's some things to watch out for. It's very difficult for this reason or that reason. Spread that information, my bros. But as always, thank you so much for watching here today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below, all that fun action. And please check out my Patreon and Nexus store to help support the channel. But as always, have a good one and take care.